thanks for joining us. What a cracking fight, great performance from Joseph Parker. Congratulations. Over to the floor for questions.
Joseph, what absolute war that was. Did you expect Chisora to make it to this well? There were many times when I thought even Dave might fall through was out there at that point.
So I wanted the knockout, but got a bit too excited a few times when I heard him. So the positive thing is we made improvements, adjustments from the first fight, and the exciting thing is there's still a lot of work to be done with David. So just need to take a break now, enjoy time with the family, quality time with the kids, and guys up here to make a decision what's next.
Did you enjoy the back and forth nature of the fight?
I loved it. 24 rounds with Derek. He's a beast, he's a warrior. And he always comes and gives war. And I'm just happy he's a lot more excited than the first fight.
Did he ever have you hurt in there?
Listen, I can't really hear you. What was it? I can't really hear you. He stung me on this side. And you can see it's a bit smaller, so there was one tough guy.
But you never felt like he was in
I didn't feel like it was going to be out of there, but I felt a few punches there, of course.
And then for you, Eddie, yourself, the fight more than delivered, the atmosphere was absolutely electric. You would actually think that Derek was in his hometown, really, would you?
Yeah, I just think that with Derek, you know what you're going to get, and I think when fighters always talk about going out on their shield, he came out in the 12th round to try and win the fight by knockout, full well knowing that he could get carried out. But he's, you know, a lot of fighters say, oh, I don't care if I get knocked out trying to win. Doing it is different, especially when you're already hurt. And that's why people love him. But I tell you, it was a great performance from Joseph, and he needed to be that good. And I tell you, he needed to be as conditioned as he was, because it was a grueling fight. And if he wasn't fit, he would have folded down the straight, because Derek makes you do that. And I was really impressed by the performance, but very impressed by the conditioning, because you know he's obviously worked very hard, because it was a grueling fight, and you know, it's a big win for him, because you need to win well, and you need to win in exciting fashion. And I thought it was good to see some spite from Joseph Parker, letting his hands go with bad intentions, because I feel like he hasn't had the confidence in the ring, and tonight we saw a different kind of Joseph Parker throwing with bad intentions.
Were you concerned for Derek at all in there? Because there were moments where his eyes looked like he was in a different place for a few rounds, maybe from the 4th round onward. He was just...
I think, you know, Dave Caldwell knows what he's doing. I mean, there was one stage where every time he got hurt, obviously, he wasn't very good at hiding it. He'd go straight into the neutral corner and just try and pop shot Joe. But Howard Foster actually was ready to jump in, and he turned to him during the exchange and said, "Don't you dare." Do you know what I mean?
And then he opened up.
Yeah, he did, yeah. But it was like every time he looked like he was going to get stopped, he let 5 or 6 go. So I felt at one side, I said to Dave Caldwell, did you think about pulling him out? Because after the 3rd knockdown, I thought he may have a word with him. But it's very difficult to have that conversation with Derek, to be honest with you.
Joe, you seem like reinvigorated there. You seem to have a hunger back. I mean, what has brought that back in you?
Just, I think like I said before, I needed more time with Andy. The first fight was a short time. I think you can see with longer time and more time together, you can see the improvements. And I think the next time we'll see keep working on it, keep improving.
The world titles are obviously tied up for a while now with possible undisputed fights and everything next year. But what's your aim with the 2 losses on your record? Would it be to go out and get revenge for them, and if those opponents are available later next year?
What's next?
Yeah, I mean, look, we'll speak to Dave and Andy, obviously, and for me, you know, I think, like you say, no one's going to get a world title shot till later in the year, and you know, he's boxed twice, once in May, once in December. Nice to stay active. I'd like to see him fight in New Zealand or Australia. You know, I mean, there's so many fights he could have. You know, you've got Hergovich in the final eliminator, tough fight, but gives you the key to the world title and a big split with the IBF. You've got Andy Ruiz rematch. You've got Deontay Wilder. You know, Dillian White after, you know, he knocks out Tyson Fury. You know, and we'll have to see. I think he's in a great position, because it's one thing winning, but it's winning well in exciting fights. That's the difference. So Joseph Parker won tonight and makes people want to watch him again. So, you know, we'll see what Mr. Higgins says. And I like the idea of, you know, if you want to stay active and fight at home, you know, I don't know. I mean,
First,
you know,
you need to get home.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that's a good idea. When will you get home?
Joe, in your reaction to the scorecards, because two were very close, if you took one or two knockdowns away, they might have nicked your points.
Honestly, I knew after the fight that I won, but the judges, that's their job. I'm not sure. What was the scores?
Well, I mean, 117, 111, 116, 112, 114, 112.
Ah, well, 115, 111, 115, 10, and 114, 115.
114, 112 was a
Is that even possible when the 3 knockdowns to Joe?
yeah, I mean, no idea, but I think
My views about the officials
Yeah.
are well canvassed the last few years,
Yeah.
but it's just disappointing.
But it was the thing about the officials is we couldn't have New Zealand or Australian judge come here because of the mandatory hotel and everything when you return and the lottery to get back into the country. So we could have got a European judge, or but we said no. The British Boxing Board, they are the best. They're the best, so we trust them. And listen.
Yeah, we could have claimed breach of contract, but instead we thought, no, we'll give the benefit of the doubt to NBC.
very, very nice.
Andy, you've obviously worked with Fury and Joe now for a while. If both their recent fights have been more exciting, is that something you wanted to help them bring out of themselves? Very different guys, obviously, but
It's all about, it just, Joe, it's just about being consistent, isn't it? And being, going for a knockout. It's heavyweight boxing, being spiteful. Joe just followed it, like he followed the instructions perfectly in the fight, did exactly what we did in the gym. But there were still mistakes and there's still lots to improve on. That's exciting. He's only, I would say, we're about at 50% in our journey. There's still a lot more to come.
how do you feel reborn, Joe? Do you feel kind of a reborn in the second half of your new career?
It's what I needed, yeah. And I'm a lot more excited about what's to come.
Joe, I know you felt a lot of pressure coming into this one. You said yesterday it felt a bit like make or break for you. What's the feeling like now then?
Oh, happy. Christmas present. Now I can just relax and spend time with my family. They're here, my wife and my kids. Very happy going into Christmas and New Year's.
And what would your message be to Derek now? Obviously, I had a conversation with Dave after the fight, and you can't really say anything in terms of all these retirements and all this week. Derek, he's a fan favourite.
Yeah, it's too early. I mean, the first thing he said to me was, well, in the ring, did you enjoy that?
Yeah.
That was one thing. And then when I saw him out there, he said, can I go again in the spring? I mean, he doesn't know anything else. The problem is he's not regressing. So he had a good camp. He's not getting hurt in sparring. You know, you can't say his punch resistance has gone because he went 12 rounds, took the kitchen sink, and he's getting beat by elite heavyweights. So on one hand, I understand the argument to say you're 36, you're taking punishment, you've got money, you've had great nights, enough's enough. But on the other hand, I also understand the fact that he loves to fight, he feels like he's fighting well. And if you're not an elite heavyweight, he will beat you. No question about it. He's a nightmare to fight. I mean, he just...
Well, what about like, even though he lost, his reputation grew. He did that fight.
He's
So
gonna-
why don't you give him nice 4 or 5 fights where he's not an underdog?
Yeah,
Where
because
he's
he doesn't
50,
really.
60,
The problem is as well, he wants those big nights. Do you know what I mean? He's like, and the problem
the
is,
speakers and
Yeah.
no disrespect
Yeah.
to David Price, you know.
yeah.
And let's
But he wins, he
appreciate
beats
it and
those
enjoy
guys,
it.
you know. But he wants,
Let's
and,
enjoy it.
and every time, if you look at his 11 defeats, you know, he's lost twice to Joseph Parker, twice to Dillian White,
His record's crazy.
or twice to Tyson Fury. That's 6 defeats from 3 fights. He got robbed against Helenius in Finland. Probably should have got the decision against Pulev. A bad performance against Kabayel. Lost to Alexander Usyk.
Hell of a fight.
Vitaly Klitschko. I mean, like I'm saying, if you're not an elite heavyweight, he will beat you. And if he didn't perform like that tonight, and if he wasn't as fit as he was, he would have got beaten tonight. That's why you've got to be on the top of your game to beat him.
Is this the best you've ever seen Joseph Parker?
Sorry?
Is this the best you've ever seen?
I think so. You know, because I think even when he fought AJ, he didn't have that kind of belief. You know, you've got to believe in yourself. You look at, you know, I hate to say it, but Tyson Fury is probably the best example of that in the division. Someone that truly believes in his ability in himself. And now Joseph's believing in himself with that confidence. He's a much better fighter and a more spiteful fighter. And you know, I think if you don't have the confidence in a division, in this division, it's a tough, even tougher sport.
Joe, what do you want next for 2022?
I just want to keep busy. Just keep fighting.
Joe, there was a moment, I'm not sure which round it was, but it looked like a bit of a below the belt shot from Chisora. You kind of waited a second, expected the ref to come in, and Chisora took that as an opportunity to go for broke. What did you make of that instance at that time?
Just felt like blowing it, but he kept coming. So I had to cover up and fight with him.
You didn't have a problem with it?
No problem, so, yeah.
Last question, guys.
Joe, can we see you facing
He doesn't box anymore, does he? Doesn't he? He can do that other thing, the other
triangle.
thing. Triangle.
Yeah.
Maybe.
First of all, I'd just like to say a massive congratulations. We spoke the other day, you spoke about spite. We saw that tonight, an absolutely fantastic performance. You brought the heat to this match. You two seem to work really well together as a team. Joel, I know you said you're going back home to your family, you're going to take time out. How is that relationship going to stay stable moving forward for future fights if you're to and from New Zealand?
Stay here.
You're here? Okay.
Can't get home. We can't get back home.
Right, okay. Until further notice.
You need to win an MIQ lottery, so you've got a chance of one in the team every few weeks or whatever. So we stuck up here till the government regulations change.
Well then that's good for us because then we've got you for longer. Congratulations.
Thank you.
But unfortunately, you've got Higgins as well.